Well, the thing I think we're going to see hitting us more and more in the next 5 years is the gaming generation are going to start hitting the workforce. And I think this younger generation are very, very conscious of energy usage, of sustainability and resilience. And they're going, why do I need to put myself in a 1-ton metal box and move my physical body to this office so I could sit around with people who I'm not talking to anyway? I'm sitting on so I work with Y generation people. We'll be sitting in the same room, and they won't turn around and talk to me. They'll IM me, they'll instant message me, or they'll want to meet in a virtual room. 3 years ago, for the first time in my corporate history, I did a deal with a large US company without once meeting them face to face. We met completely in virtual environments.
You know, I actually built a gaming room in my roof so my son and his mates could play 16-player thing, because I was just fascinated with how they could learn to, strategy, project management, communication, collaboration, coordination.
Lack of natural light.
No, it didn't. Of course not, mate. It's a computer gaming room. And but I sort of look at those things. So I sort of say, if I see my son outside with a ball, it was like, what are you doing in there? You should be upstairs playing computer games.
This generation is used to a very sensory, immersive experience, and I think they're going to want to work in that environment. And we're also going to see more of it coming into mobile devices, so we can be anywhere, and it's not just going to be a little phone. There's going to be holographs, and fold-out phones and fold-out keyboards and things that we can put in our wallet, so that we'll be able to take the web with us like nomads. And wherever we are, we're going to be in a much more immersive space.
Now, this is interesting, because in our other discussions we've been talking about how technology can lead us to a more inclusive, hopefully a better place. In a way, we have the technology to work flexibly, to work remotely, and yet so many of us don't. Peak hour still exists. We take our work via our laptop in our car and work in the same place as everyone else.
But that is often just because our workplaces are still phobic. I mean, Pete will probably back me up on this one. You often go into big organisations and they've got very strict rules about, your iPhone and your social media, and there's everyone with their private little device that they brought in, and they're sitting like this under their desk.
So we have the technology to be more flexible, but
companies are scared.
But so it sort of needs a cultural change.
Yeah.
But isn't it this behaviour that Lisa is mentioning actually one way to address, let's say, difficulties of finding a good job, or if I'm a freelance writer or a freelance web designer? I mean, now with these kind of virtual environments, I can have a job anywhere in the world, and suddenly my addressable market of job opportunities is huge.
Yeah. And what we're seeing smart organisations do is say, you know what, well, actually, everything we'll do is securely available via the web. And if you want to work off an iPad, an iPhone, or 2 tin cans and a piece of string, knock yourself out.
Yeah. And like I said, the Gen Ys and the new generations have moved beyond that, and management hasn't kept up with that. So for example, in our culture, we're basically told, here's the jobs you need to do. You do them at 2 in the morning, you do them at 2 in the afternoon. I probably work longer hours now, but because I have built-in flexibility, I actually enjoyed working those longer hours. I'm actually more productive and still seeing my family a lot more because I can do those sort of things. This concept of, what is a worker? So that definition is based on the classic Australian model of, if you work 35 hours a week in a work environment, you're a worker. The classic challenge, we talk about the huge nursing shortage in Australia, and yet there are hundreds of thousands of nurses who are at home, be it because they're raising children or they don't want to work in a hospital 8-hour shifts from midnight. Once you provide them with tools to become productive and work in a new environment, they become part of the workforce. So this concept that once you retire, and the 65-year-old person who's been doing something for 30 years has a treasure trove of knowledge, but we don't stop them working. We bring them back into the system as a worker, but in a different way. I mean...
Okay, so what are some practical things you can do to actually make that happen in an efficient way, where it makes sense to do it?
Well, using the nursing analogy, we have a lot of situations where nurses don't have to actually be in physical contact with the patient. Reviewing this information, we're talking about this huge amounts of information that's now going to become available through these computerised systems. A nurse's job could be to be sitting at home from 9:30 till 2:30, so she can still drop the kids off and pick up the kids, and review that information and be part of a new workforce, a data manager, so that the doctor gets only the information that's relevant, or the clinical nurse gets only the information that's relevant. Education, one-on-one education using technology. Again, we can have teachers no longer have to teach in front of a classroom between 9 and 3, they can teach a Taiwanese classroom between 10 and 2 in the morning if they're insomniacs. They can change the way they work.
Technology on the whole, as it's come out, it tends to free people from drudgery and for higher tasks.